Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you were at. Welcome back to Treetop Mystic 444. My name is Rainy, dream reader, storyteller here, and I want to talk about something that's been on my heart lately. If I seem a little awkward, it's because I am. I had to write out a little script for myself just so I can kind of make sure I have my bullet points about what I want to talk about. But the main thing is stories. My favorite thing. And it's not just the ones that we binge or that we argue about in comment sections and Reddit threads. I'm talking about the stories that we care about, the ones that, shape how we see ourselves. Because for me, stories are way more than just entertainment, way more than just things that we consume um, unconsciously. Uh, they're therapy, or at least I feel like they should be, used as therapy. I feel like they're mirrors, they're maps, and sometimes they're even warnings for us. Um, we consume stories every single day, whether we notice it or not, and whether we want to admit it or not. Movies, shows, books, TikToks, memes, they're sort of like emotional shortcuts. And we use them to navigate the world. Again, whether we want to admit it or not, we are looking to some kind of story. And we use that to decide who we relate to, who we resent, the things that we avoid, what we're chasing. But sometimes we misuse those gems that are given to us by these brilliant people, brilliant writers, brilliant artists. And we start judging ourselves, and we use those stories to then judge other people uh, using all the wrong rules. And we do it really harshly. And instead of using those stories to connect, we tend to weaponize them. We use them as armor to isolate ourselves or to isolate others or to make other people feel inferior to us. And you've seen it, one person shares their perspective and suddenly the whole thread becomes hostile. And then the conversation dies, everything gets shut down. But what happens in that moment is that it's not just a comment that we're shutting down. I feel like we're shutting down the creative spirit behind it. We're shutting down other creators, other storytellers. We're telling them to pretty much shut up. And when creators stop creating, they don't just vanish or disappear. They become bitter and backed up inside. And I would know because I've had that dam build inside of me before, when I've been um, silenced by other people when someone's told me like, I don't really think that that's what that story was about, or why do you give a shit so much about that character? Like, really, they're kind of neurotic, they're this, they're that. They're I realize that we're not always curious when someone shares a strong opinion about a story. We don't really try to read the feeling beneath the opinion. We just kind of get offended ourselves and then we want to rebuttal, and it's, again, that's not really connection, and it makes me a little sad sometimes when I see it happen, or whenever it's happened to me. um, I would like to encourage others to consciously use stories to examine themselves, and not in a not in a way to punish, but to maybe give ourselves a little bit of grace, to be honest, but at the same time, be gentle. Uh, use these stories like they're guides, really gentle guides, like sort of a parent. And that's why I started treating stories sort of like elder spirits in a way. Um, and I wanted to show you guys in real time how I use the stories that I love and the characters that I admire, to let them show me where it is that I'm hiding and where it is that I'm actually healing. Because sometimes a story will offer a truth that we're not always ready to hear, but we absolutely needed it anyway. For example, Hermione Granger. I know you know her from the Harry Potter, hopefully. Um, I don't think I'm really gonna, there's really like any spoiler alerts, but just in case. Spoiler alert. Brilliant, intense little witchy poo, a little hysterical at times, but that's what I absolutely love about her. That's what I've always loved about her. She's unapologetically herself. She's meticulous and organized, and I'm not. But I see myself in her drive, in her emotions, how she kind of moves like the weather, swells and crashes, and kind of just goes with the flow of whatever it is that she's feeling. And I also kind of relate to the way that I feel like her belief is that her worth is tied a lot to her performance or her academics. And so lately I've asked myself, am I the kind of person that Hermione would want to keep in her life for longer than a year? And I figured, yeah, maybe. She'd probably find me kind of frustrating at first, maybe too disorganized or too childish. But maybe, just maybe, and this is where the grace comes in her own sharp way, she might start to remind me how I don't have to hide behind my humor or my fear whenever I feel uneasy or unsure of myself. I feel like she would help label a lot of my potions. She would challenge me for sure. And hopefully, eventually, maybe she would see the way that I've always kind of quietly loved her in a way that I didn't always feel safe saying or admitting out loud. Because growing up, it's rainy out. I hope you can hear me, but that's kind of nice to have in the background. But growing up, defending characters ferociously in my house was not safe. My mother didn't like how deeply I felt for characters, even though she would cling to characters kind of in the same way, but she didn't like that I kind of served as a mirror, and I would be like, well, I like this person. I appreciate this person a little bit more. I like this character better in this story. Or I see myself more in Hermione than you do. But she didn't see herself the way that I saw her. I always kind of saw her best parts. My mom reminds me of a witch herself. I'm pretty sure that she is. But I loved her in all of her wild brilliance. The way she would come alive sometimes. She was a scary person and a warm person at the same time. And I'm pretty sure that's, I got that from the movie Lady Bird. That's me and my mom. I never wanted to be better than my mom. I just wanted to be myself, but I wanted to maybe sometimes borrow her magic wherever it is that I needed it in my life. But I wasn't always safe doing that, so I did with Hermione. And then there's Sam and Dean Winchester from Supernatural, the Winchester brothers. I absolutely love them, but I am witchy, so I'm pretty sure that Dean would be constantly rolling his eyes at first. But I would like to think that at some point he would probably start tucking my little charm bags and stuff inside of the glove box of the Impala before taking off on a hunt, and he would do it maybe when no one's looking or when he thinks that nobody's watching. And Sammy, sensitive, soulful Sammy, I'm pretty sure I think he would trust me with his dreams, with his nightmares, being a dream interpreter. I would definitely ask too many questions. I'm pretty sure we would argue a lot, but I feel like they would let me ride along. I know that I would be the kind of person that they could kind of trust to leave alone in the bunker or to cohabitate with. But the one that really hit me lately was looking at Riley Anderson from the Inside Out movies, both 1 and 2. Sweet, complex, feeling too much kind of girl, but really emotionally intelligent and aware. And she's also pretty lucky that she's got pretty decent parents. They're not flawless, but they're helpful and they show up when they need to. And I asked myself, would I be the kind of adult that Riley would feel safe around? Am I the kind of person that she would feel comfy to grow up around and to make mistakes around? And if I'm going to answer honestly, right now at this point in my life, no, I don't think that she would always feel kind of safe. I still throw a lot of grown-up tantrums, and those can get a little scary sometimes. They might look a little volatile, and I struggle to self-regulate quite a bit. But kids like Riley, empathetic, raw, curious, they notice things. They notice a lot, and they also forgive. Kids are also pretty forgiving, and they offer a lot of grace sometimes where we feel like we don't deserve it. And grace is exactly the thing that I'm trying to give to myself too, because if I can't learn how to talk gently to myself, then who will? And I can't count that other people are always going to know when to do that, or that anybody's going to do that at all around me. I've already tried the other way. I've tried hating myself. I've tried shaming myself, berating myself, stinging myself until I went completely numb. But living in that place, it's not life. That's stagnation. That's choosing spiritual rot. That's choosing death, and I'm done choosing death when I can choose life. So now I treat stories like they're dream mirrors. I do my best to keep myself in check and to not use these stories so much as an escape anymore, but more as a reflection, and not as armor to isolate myself or to isolate others, but as an invitation for me, for other people. And so to kind of conclude, Hermione is the one that reminds me to stay honest and true to myself, to my emotions, to never apologize for them. The Winchesters remind me to protect what matters to me. And Riley, she's the one that reminds me to grow up kindly, with grace, with curiosity, and, the willingness to talk to myself like I'm somebody worth saving. Sometimes I do feel that I'm not good enough, but I'm also a good friend. Sometimes I'm not a good friend. Sometimes I'm this, sometimes I'm that. I'm the whole damn spectrum, and that's okay. So before I go, I wanted to do sort of a quick little card pull. Maybe just one to see what the story spirit wants to say today. So I'm going to be using the Starseed Oracle, 53 cards, beautiful, beautiful deck, lovely illustrations. I always feel really good with this one. It's very gentle. Oh my god, 2 already flew out. So we have deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. And notice how when we're reading stories or watching a story or even writing a story, it is really cathartic. We do feel it, not just on an emotional level, but we feel it physically. The heart rate picks up. Sometimes we sweat, we clench our fists, we're on the edge of our seat. It's a whole mind, body, spirit experience. And we could use a lot of these stories to heal ourselves on a cellular level. Let me bring that a little bit closer. Really, really pretty. It's lovely. And then the second one is You Got the Love. That's amazing. Hadarian energy, codependency, and boundaries. What I'm getting from this is each story is a piece of art. And you can't really make art without a little bit of love in it, or completely made of love. And we can use these stories to figure out where we're being codependent sometimes with these characters. Maybe we're clinging a little too harsh or ferociously to them, like I mentioned. And we could also use these characters that we admire to learn how to set boundaries, and to sometimes put a little bit of distance between us and those stories, or between us and other people, but not in a mean way, but I'll show that one more time. This one, really, really pretty. And then there's this one. We got these 2 for the day. So, yeah, if that landed for you in any way, just let me know in the comments, or just whisper it quietly to yourself, to your heart, or in the mirror, or whisper it into the water and let the water take it away. And if you're ready to go a little bit deeper into your dreams or into your stories, you know where to find me. Treetop Mystic 444, and I'll put a few of my other handles in the description box for my Instagram and my Twitter as well. And I also post the link to my Patreon. Since I just posted that recently, I started my Patreon so I could finally begin offering my dream interpretations and dream readings for you guys. So thank you so much for stopping by today. Stay blessed, stay well. Remember, I try not to preach, I just try to reach. All right, love you guys. Bye.